All right, round 5. See if there's anything important prized. The Guru's prized for Charlie and a mustard and a B, but you'll only gonna probably be able to get off 1 B in this matchup anyways. And then or they have the names mixed up here. Charlie's playing the B deck. Oh, they prize double mustard, but I'm pretty sure Charlie plays 3 mustard, so you can still get off a B. You just need to try and get off that 1 B, so you can go like 2 prizer, 2 prizer, B, 2 prizer, or whatever. Just 7 prize game. And then on Gabe's side, nothing super important is prize here. The boss is like good, but you only need it at the end of the game, and it's in the top 4 prize cards, so you'll be able to find it before the game ends. So if you need the boss, it's there. So I guess Charlie wants to go like 2 prizer B, 2 prizer, 2 prizer to like play around the boss. But Charlie might not know that Gabe plays the boss, so might not be able to. And we'll see who chooses to go first. I assume both players want to go first in this matchup. You do want to Brawly or keep calling as Gabe, so I guess there's an argument for the Inteleon deck to go second, to choose to go second, because like Charlie could have a bad turn 1, not being able to play a draw supporter for the turn, and like with the turn 1 attachment on an Arceus or something. So there's actually an argument to be able to choose to go second as Malamar here, but the deck's pretty good about getting an energy on Arceus on the first turn. So you probably just want to go first here as Gabe, just so you can maybe do something cheesy potentially, but we'll see. There's like a possibility of doing something cheesy. Okay. So it looks like Charlie is going first. I don't know who won the coin flip. So there's a quick ball. Going to grab an Arceus probably. And then we'll see if they have the energy for it or not. And that's like the only thing you really need on the first turn is literally Arceus V with energy. You literally don't care about anything else. And then on Gabe's side, you're looking to just fill up your board. It could be with benching 4 Pokemon out of hand. It could be with Brawly. It could be with Keep Calling. It just doesn't really matter. All Gabe really wants here is to fill up their board. And I see the energy in hand for Charlie. So Charlie has the optimal turn 1 here. I don't think Sandaconda ever comes into play in this matchup. I guess it's just like a bigger Pokemon. So you can go like Arceus, Beedrill, Arceus, Sandaconda for your prize trade. And then just kind of what you target down is like what you want to focus down is kind of the big deal from there. Gabe going to grab a second Inkay, which is super important because otherwise if they KO your lone Inkay, you can't attack next turn. So going to get an Inkay, but ideally wants to fill up the bench. Like just wants 5 Pokemon on the bench. That's all you want turn 1 is Malamar. And we'll see if Gabe has the scoop up net keep calling play or has a Brawly. Thinking about attaching to the bench, goes to the attach to the bench. Ooh, Karina's focus for 2, so not good. Not a good start here from Gabe. And this is where like the Arceus deck, this is where Charlie can get really far ahead because with such an unestablished board state that Gabe has, Charlie can go like knockout and then Gabe will probably whiff the KO and then you can go knockout again as Charlie and go from there. Got the DT, got the energy, has the Super Rod for the Crobat, and then goes with Luminion to probably get the B out. So I think this is a mistake here from Charlie for putting the training card in play. So you don't need a ton of energy in this matchup as Charlie, and you haven't like wasted any either, and you play more than 1 training court as Charlie as well. And I'm gonna pull up Charlie's list real fast just to make sure on that. But the Malamar deck actually loves training court. The Malamar deck loves training court. And there's even a play on board already where Gabe can retreat this basic psychic energy off this Inkay, attach to Sobble, and use Keep Calling. So there's literally a play on board where Gabe can abuse the training court already. Oh, but then no B. Yeah, never mind. I forgot about that. He couldn't B then. I forgot about the lack of B there. All right, never mind. He has to put the training court in play. I forgot about the lack of B. I thought he was going to get a research here, but no, then he can't be. And you probably just want to be when you can be, so it's fine. You don't want to put training court in play against them if you can avoid it, but no, he has to do it here. That is right. I'm wrong on that. If we want the B this turn, we have to do it. Gets the 5 cards, and then even if Charlie whiffs the what's it called here, he can still take a knockout on the active, which should put him in a pretty good spot. And it is possible that Charlie does whiff, or Gabe does whiff the knockout, even if it is on the just a V instead of a V star. Yeah, so still gets the KO, but this is a big opportunity. This actually wouldn't it be ridiculous if Gabe got the return knockout on the Arceus here? It wouldn't be ridiculous if Gabe got the return knockout on the Arceus here. So this is actually like a spot for Gabe to get really far ahead in the game, to be honest. And we'll see if they can do that. Because if they have the ambition, they can just like draw a bunch of cards and maybe pull off the knockout. Looks like he's going for an Evolution Incense, so probably already has Ambition in hand. The other play that Gabe could make this turn would be to just go with a Brawly, and I think I saw Gabe thinking about the Brawly play, and actually does just go with the Brawly play here. And I do like this play a lot as well. It's pretty unlikely that you pull off the knockout here, and then even if you get the knockout here, if, you know, if Charlie just has a response, which to be honest, actually, Charlie just doesn't have a response on board. So getting the knockout here would have been pretty big, to be honest, because there's like no response here from Charlie. I guess the only play would be like a Raihan play, which I'm sure Gabe probably would make a guess that Charlie plays a Raihan. So, because the B actually can't knock out Malamar. It only does 110 unless you have the special energy, but there's a basic energy on here. So, it'd probably be fine to have gone that route. But goes with the Brawly. I like that, I think, overall. And then we'll see what the rest of the hand looks like. Has artillery and some other stuff. Could have actually gone, still could have gone with Keep Calling there. Could have gone Retreat, use Trading Court, Keep Calling, put another Sobble in play. It's not necessary. And it depends how many Sobble were prized here from Gabe. I don't know if any were. So to be honest, I don't know if I dislike this attack. Could have also hit the Arceus for 20 here with the spinning attack, which looks like Gabe missed that as well. So there was 2 attacks Gabe could have made here. Spinning attack is actually relevant. If Charlie's hand continues to be dead, then 20 damage on here is actually relevant because you need 1 less Rapid Strike next turn to actually get the knockout. But even retreating and Keep Calling this turn is also still pretty good. I actually wonder if on Charlie's turn, Charlie should have just not gone for the B this turn to just avoid giving Gabe access to Training Court. Like, Training Court is like really, really good for Malamar to have. Like, it's really, really, really good. So I wonder if on Charlie's side, Charlie maybe should have actually just gone for a research instead of going for the mustard for the B to simply avoid giving Gabe access to Training Court and look for a mustard on a future turn where they don't have to put the Training Court in play. Because this is like, yeah, Training Court's just really good for Malamar to have access to. So when you can't bump it yourself, you just give him access to it the full game. That's a pretty big difference to make, to be honest. So yeah, Gabe should have either hit for 20 or used Keep Calling. I think I like the Keep Calling play here because there's a good chance that Charlie would go for a boss KO on something on the bench, because KOing Inkay actually does absolutely nothing because Training Court is in play. Yeah, because Training Court's in play, KOing the active does nothing, because it's like KOing Inkay with an energy, when they can already get the energy back through the Training Court, and they have another Inkay on bench. So they would have to find another Inkay, but finding another Inkay, like Inkay is like the card you want your opponent to knock out as Malamar. You're like, please, always KO my Inkay. So right here, Charlie could go boss KO the Drizzile or the Remoraid, and that's like more value. So I think Gabe should have gone with Keep Calling here, actually, because the boss play is such a better play for Charlie to go with a boss play here than KO the active. When it becomes a Malamar, it's like a little bit more value to KO the active, but I think Gabe probably should have gone with... I think I would have gone with Keep Calling here. If there was no Sobble prize, if there was a Sobble prize, maybe you just don't want to give it to the Sobble to them for free and hope they just don't have the boss KO in that situation. But I think I like the Keep Calling. Hitting for 20 is also pretty solid, but that's hitting for 20 is assuming your opponent's dead drawing, because if they evolve into a V-Star here, then the 20 damage just doesn't matter, so... I wouldn't have hated to see the... I think I like to Keep Calling there. Got the Guru off the prize cards, it looks like, here for Charlie. And then is probably going to go ahead and use Primate Wisdom. We'll see. Primate Wisdom's energy on top. Gets a card, and then can play the Energy Search in the hand and then shuffle the top deck. So, good sequencing there from Charlie. But the hand looks like it's still dead from Charlie. So needs to start... I mean, needs something soon. Has an energy for turn, though, to the Sandaconda, which is nice, and then goes for the knockout on the active Inkay. Gets a mustard off the prize card, but with so many energy in hand, you're not going to be able to even use that anytime soon. Inkay send up from Gabe. Artillery comes down, and then should have access to an ambition here. Yeah, see, there's that Training Court. Like, the Training Court is just so ridiculously good for... Like, Malamar doesn't play Training Court, but when your opponent plays it, you're just so happy when they play the Training Court. Because, look, you just get to repeat, use the energy. You never have to put your Fusion Strike energy in play. So that means you never have to... what's it called? Run out of those, and you should have more Rapid Strike cards in your deck and so on. So, and I'd be surprised here if Gabe doesn't get the knockout. We'll see, though. Maybe that 20 damage will be a pretty big difference. That 20 damage in general is still a big difference because they need to play one more Rapid Strike card, which means you set up that much less for your next turn. So it's still a pretty big deal to have lost that that card there overall. And even if Charlie doesn't have the boss KO around the Inkay this turn, which we saw that they didn't have, you just end up with like one more card in play here as Gabe. Like, you're set up by one more card. So when they go to KO if they KO the Sobble, now you have 2 Inkays in play, right? So now you don't need to stress to find another Inkay this turn and so on. So using the Keep Calling there, I think it's still the best play there, because now this turn, Gabe has to go find, another Inkay. But if Gabe had used Keep Calling and then Charlie KO'd a Sobble, on this turn, Gabe doesn't have to find another Inkay, right? So... should he use Keep Calling or should he hit for 20? I think Keep Calling is still the better play overall, because if the Arceus V becomes a V-Star, the 20 damage doesn't actually matter. So I think should have gone with Retreat Keep Calling there from Gabe and just grab some more Sobbles or whatever. You see the Shady Dealings. It did grab a Karina's Focus, which makes me think for sure here Gabe does have the knockout, but I could be wrong. Scoop Up Net resets. Drizzle comes down. Another Shady Dealings. See, now this Inkay has to come to the bench, which is one less Rapid Strike card this turn to have from Gabe. So we'll see if it makes a difference on whether or not Gabe gets the KO. Also grabbed a Rescue Carrier, so I think that means there's... they used the Rescue Carrier yet? No. There's 2 Inkays to grab, and then should have... needs, what, 6 here to get the knockout. And is able to bench the Sobble as well, so that's pretty good. And then, boom, 6. Gets the knockout on the Arceus. Here comes the Sandaconda. So it is possible for Charlie to attack this turn. Another reason giving your opponent the training card is bad in this matchup is because the Beedrill only does 110 damage unless they have a special energy. And you want to use the Beedrill at some point. And you can always boss with the Beedrill and go like boss KO Sobble or Drizzle or whatever, or an Inkay off the bench. But you ideally want to KO the Malamar. Like, you want the option to use Beedrill to KO Malamar as well. But when they have endless basic energy, they're never going to put a special energy on a Malamar. Just like for the rest of the game, Gabe is never going to use the special energy. They're always just going to be shuffled back to the deck, and he's going to repeat use Training Court. But if you don't give them Training Court, they might have to put a special energy in play at some point, and then the Beedrill can just knock out the active. So it just gives more routes to use the Beedrill. But you lose those routes once you put Training Court in play, and you do need to like use the Beedrill in this matchup to like mess up Gabe's prize trade. You don't want to just go 2 prizer, 2 prizer, 2 prizer. That just makes it too easy for Gabe to win the game. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. Probably should have gone research and just discarded the Training Card, to be honest, off the rip, because then once you give them that endless basic energy, it's just that much harder to use Beedrill. You can boss plus Beedrill, but you only play 2 bosses, Charlie, and you want to make sure you're using your bosses. The other thing about the boss's orders, you want to be using them aggressively to like KO Octillery in this matchup. So as soon as you get that opportunity to KO an Octillery, you want to do that. But you don't want to KO an Octillery with a Beedrill in your active. Actually, you can't even do that. You don't want to KO something with your Beedrill in your active because it's not that hard to get the return KO on Beedrill. You want to boss KO something while there's an Arceus or a Sandaconda in your active, because then that means it's going to be harder for them to get the return knockout. But even if you KO the even if you could KO the Octillery with the even if you could KO the Artillery with the Beedrill, you wouldn't want to do it because they're going to be like, okay, I still knock you out. Like, knocking out my Artillery doesn't stop me from knocking out a Beedrill, but knocking out my Artillery when you have an Arceus V-Star in the active might stop me from knocking out the Arceus V-Star, right? So, yeah, it's like thinking about it like more, like the way the matchup's going to play out. Like, this Training Card you just can't put Training Card in play in this matchup. You just can't do it. If you do it, you're just setting yourself up to like never be able to use your B, which means you just lose the game. Like, you have to be able to use the B in this matchup. So like Charlie should have just gone with the research. It's more likely to find the V-Star, and if you have the V-Star, you can Starbirth, which sets up for isn't Octo 110? Oh, is Octillery 110? All right, well, even if you can knock out the Octillery, it doesn't matter, right? Because you knock out the Octillery, and then they go, okay, knock out your Beedrill anyways. The point of knocking out Octillery is to make them whiff the knockout on their next turn, but no one's whiffing 130 against a B, right? Like, the Malamar deck's not going to whiff 130 damage. So even though Beedrill can knock out Octillery, they're not going to whiff the knockout. But yeah. He can kill Mally with a Goon Ping. Oh, he does play the Zigzagoon. Actually, I just saw that, yeah. All right, so the B is actually still not terrible here because it can knock out the Zigzagoon. You probably just don't want to give them Training Card in general, though. No, I forgot. I didn't realize that he had the Zigzagoon. I'm not going to lie. Until right now. But he does have the Goon, so he actually can still get the knockout here with the B, which is like, so I guess he's still in a fine spot, to be honest, overall. I didn't realize he had a B. He does have a B. And we'll probably see the knockout here then on the active. Yeah, Goon Ping active. Okay, so the B can knock out the active, which actually is not that bad. And then Charlie also finds the Mustard. The problem with this situation still, though, is like the B will attack, the B will get knocked out, and then Charlie doesn't have a follow-up attacker. So Charlie needs to find Raihan for the... needs to find Raihan for the Sandaconda or an Arceus. So it needs to find Raihan or bench an Arceus V here is probably what you need, so then you can find the Raihan with the V-Star on the next turn. I didn't realize Charlie played the Goon, I'm not gonna lie. So actually it ends up being fine to play it out this way. You still don't want to give him Training Court, but it's not as bad. It's definitely not as bad. It's still bad though. You don't want to give him Training Court. Yeah, see, boom, Training Court gets the energy back, puts it on the Pokemon, and you just get to repeat that. And I'm sure Gabe has a fine hand here. Gets a couple Malamar pieces back with the Ordinary Rod. And then the Shady Dealings is going to come out, so we're going to see the Ambition, I assume, and then something else. But it looks like they're eyeing up... Okay, initially eyeing up a Focus, so... but looks like it's going to get the Ambition plus Evolution Incense, it looks like. Or maybe Fog Crystal for the Inkay. Yeah, Fog Crystal for the NK, it looks like. And then you always want to use Fog Crystals first, usually, because Fog Crystals, there's not that many things Fog Crystals can find. Oh, had the Evolution Incense as well, so that's why we went with that Fog Crystal there. But Fog Crystal is generally the thing you want to use first, because Fog Crystals have become weird cards really fast in this deck, so you want to get them out of the deck and just kind of use as soon as possible. You don't want to just like play them to play them, but you almost do. So it should be a pretty easy knockout here from Gabe. And then it's going to be maybe potentially an awkward turn here from Charlie. But it looks like Charlie has the Ultra Ball. So unless the Raihan is in the discard pile, then it should be actually pretty good. Pretty fine turn here from Charlie. And Charlie actually hasn't fallen too far behind overall. So there was the net reset, I believe. I wasn't paying attention there, but I think it was the net reset after using the Ambition. Yeah, so it has used Ambition, net reset, the Inteleon. It gets the Brawly. Getting a Malamar with a Octillery. I was like, where did that Malamar come from? I was gonna say, and then yeah, knockout for 4. So easy knockout here on the Beedrill, no problem. The only other thing that Charlie could try and do in this matchup, I guess, from what I've already talked about, is actually getting out 3 Beedrills, because 3 Beedrills also messes up the prize trade even more for Gabe. So you can go like 2 prizer, Beedrill, Beedrill, Beedrill. So that's 4 attacks and then another 2 prizer, so it's 5 attacks total. Is what you can try and make Gabe work through, but Gabe does play like the boss, so like if Zigzagoon or Guru's in play, it's like an easy knockout on that last dude instead of having to go through like a big Sandaconda or something. So it's hard to make the 3 Beedrill thing work. You also have to pull off 3 Mustards while having 3 Bees in your deck, which is also difficult, so it can't really happen. But I mean, it's hard, yeah, because you need to play like all 3 Mustards, and then you also need to like Ordinary Rod a Bee back in at some point. Like the deck plays 2 Beedrill and 2 Ordinary Rod, so it is possible, but it's pretty difficult. Like, and even once you set all that up, Gabe plays the boss, which plays around that line of play anyways. So, and when you're only knocking out Bees turn to turn, it's easier to set up those bigger plays in the hand. So it probably wouldn't ever happen. The line of play that Charlie's gonna probably have to go for pretty consistently is just like the 2 prizer. Did they start having an earthquake or something? What the heck? The line of play they're probably gonna have to go for is like just Arceus into B into Arceus into Sandaconda. Is like, oh, is Sandaconda weak to no, it's weak to grass. It's fine. So that's like what Charlie's gonna have to look for, is to be the go-to line to look for, right? That works, yeah. And then kind of hope that Gabe doesn't have the boss play on that following turn. Because if you go Arceus B, I guess Arceus B Arceus, they need 1 prize card. So I guess in this matchup, if Charlie knows they have the boss or figures out they have the boss, Charlie does not want to put Goon or Oranguru in play, and you want to go Arceus B, Arceus, Sandaconda without Goon or Guru in play. If you have a Luminion or a Crobat, that's like fine because it's a little bit more HP. If you can ideally avoid all of those as well, that's great, but that's going to be a little bit hard to pull up. But the Starbirth can do some pretty crazy things, so it's definitely possible, and that's kind of the optimal board state Charlie wants to play for. And it's probably fair to assume that you should assume that most Inteleon Malamars play the boss's orders as well, to be honest. So yeah, there's the Raihan play. There's the Sandaconda VMAX, the biggest Pokemon in the deck. So that's what you want to use as your last attacker. Make it as hard as possible for your opponent to get the knockout. And on this next knockout here, Gabe will have access to the boss's orders. Just loads up a bunch of energy in play to thin out the deck. There's the KO on the Malamar. Here's where you'd want to go boss KO on the... this is where you want to go boss KO Artillery, but... you can't because you have to use Raihan. So this is where you'd want to go boss KO Artillery, because Artillery is like usually the card that sets up the biggest plays for the most damage on the turn. Giving the Drizzile there wouldn't have been terrible either, though, to be honest, though. Fall Crystal again, just gets the Inkay, sets up that next Inkay for the next turn. And then I have some dudes. Gonna go with the Shady Dealings. Had Level Ball for Drizzile there, which I think I like a little bit more. But maybe is not even playing an Ambition this turn. Might not even have to play Ambition this turn. Has a pretty big hand. And so what happens when you get to KO Bees for the turn, you don't actually have to do... You don't like need to do as much. And I don't even think we're going to see Gabe play an Ambition this turn, because like you KO'd a Bee last turn, so it's pretty easy to set up the knockout this turn. Level Ball comes down, getting another one. And I don't believe they've used Octillery yet either. I could be wrong on that. Maybe Octillery got used in all this somewhere. No, hasn't even used Octillery yet. So yeah, probably going to be able to get the KO here without even using a Ambition, which is great. So then if you get Marty next turn, you have a higher chance to draw into something like an Ambition. But actually, Charlie doesn't even play Marty, so that's not even going to happen. And then should be a pretty clean knockout. And that's especially important. Oh, goes with the boss KO this turn. Okay, so goes with the boss KO this turn. Maybe had to? That's actually weird to see Gabe choose to go with the boss KO this turn, because now the Sandaconda is going to come up and you have to one-hit KO the Sandaconda. I'm curious as to why Gabe maybe didn't try and play for an ambition play and then KO the Arceus V and then just go with a boss KO on a goon on the next turn. It goes with the boss this turn. We'll see how it plays out. There's 5. There's the KO. So knows they could get that KO, and maybe that's why they went with it. But now Charlie gets to do what Charlie wanted to do. And basically what Charlie was playing towards was sending up the Sandaconda VMAX and attacking with it. That's what Charlie was playing towards this whole time. This has been Charlie's game plan this whole time. Still a pretty good hand from Gabe, though. So, and there's no Marnie on Charlie's side, but this is where you want a boss KO artillery almost for sure here from Charlie. Maybe the Drizzile is just as good, to be honest. So it's one of those. I don't know which one is actually better, but Charlie wants the boss KO something. You don't want to KO the Malamar, basically, because you're effectively, because Training Court's in play, and this is why it's really bad to put Training Court in play. Gabe only needs to find 1 card to reset up the Malamar, because you just use Training Court to get back the Psychic Energy every single time. And that's why it's like now Gabe needs 1 less card to put in play, which means they have 1 more card in hand, which means they could have that extra Rapid Strike card, which could make the difference. I think Gabe just going to get to 7. I think Gabe could have got to 7, though, if they had played for an ambition play over the boss play, though. I don't know what the hand was exactly, though, so maybe it wasn't worth taking the risk of ambition whiffing, but I think they definitely could have got there. I guess, would they have got there? Because now you have to go through a Sandaconda VMAX. But maybe Gabe was confident in the hand to be able to get to a Sandaconda VMAX after they played it down to then play it back up. But that's why the Training Court's so big. Because now, like, KOing the Malamar means so much less. Every time you KO Malamar, it means so much less to KO a Malamar. Like, it's just like all they need is a Malamar. They don't need energy in Malamar. They just need Malamar, which is huge. Any 1 card difference is a huge deal in Malamar. And that's why Ambition over Bruno is such a big deal in the deck. Bruno draws 7, Ambition draws 8. That's 1 card, but a 1 card difference is huge in this deck. Same thing with Training Court. Now you don't need 2 cards. You just need 1 card. It's a huge difference in the Malamar deck. The margins are very slim. But the deck gets there without having this extra stuff. But as soon as you give them the extra juice, like the Training Court, like, they're loving it. So yeah, it definitely wants to be a boss knockout here from Charlie. We'll see if Charlie has a boss. And then I'm curious to see if Charlie does have the boss. Do you go for the Drizzile or do they go for the artillery? We'll see here. Has the boss. Yeah, artillery always feels correct. I think there might be an argument for the Drizzile here because you know there's double Drizzile in play and you know Gabe has the Shady Dealings Inteleon. So there might be more of an argument to actually KO the Drizzile to stop double Shady Dealings. It depends how many net are down as well. It's pretty close, though. Artillery is usually a pretty safe bet, and it's hard to really get the full read on if you should go after a Drizzile. So I don't dislike this play from Charlie. I just don't actually know what's correct here. It's pretty close. So we'll see the knockout on the artillery, and then I expect Gabe to actually be able to have it. Like, Gabe's got a pretty good hand, it looks like. We'll see. Has the Shady Dealings Inteleon for sure, and then we'll see if he's able to chain together, like, enough nets. Has an Ambition in hand as well, so can start with an Ambition. Here comes the Fog Crystal. Grab the second basic Psychic out of the deck, or the Inkay if it's in there. And you want to play the Fog Crystal immediately, because this is the last target for Fog Crystal. So if you don't play Fog Crystal right now, you could play the Ambition, draw into the Inkay, and then the Fog Crystal grabs nothing. So you just play the Fog Crystal immediately, grab the Rapid Strike card, and now that means when you play the Ambition, you're more likely to draw into actual, like, cards that are going to find Rapid Strike cards or Rapid Strike cards. So I think it's going to draw 4 here for Gabe. And then what needs, I mean, Sandaconda is pretty big. What do you need? 8. But has the Shady Dealings Inteleon, so this will be a pretty good start. Can get, like, net plus or just double Brawly, and that actually might be enough. And that's it. That's 9. That's a KO. Goodbye, Sandaconda. Didn't even need a net. I don't know how many net were left, but that is something for Charlie to have checked, because if there was no net left, I don't think you ever KO Artillery there, because Artillery can find 1 card, Shady Dealings can find 2, but I guess there was 2 Drizzile in play, so maybe it didn't matter too much, to be honest. Yeah, maybe it didn't matter too much at all. All right, let's get into game 2. Let's see the prize cards. I love how we can see the prize cards. Do they show us the prize cards here? Okay, here we go. So Training Court being prize is actually, like, good for Charlie because you don't want to see it. Nothing super important prize here on Charlie's side. Did prize a Mustard, so can't do the triple B play, but, like, that's kind of outlandish anyways. On Ambition being prize could be pretty big. It's in the last 2, so an Ambition being prize here could be big, but it's probably not a huge deal. 1 net is prized, but it's in the first couple, so that's fine. The Inkay being prized is fine as well. Not a big deal, because I'm pretty sure actually Gabe plays, like, double Rescue Carrier, so it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, so nothing really big as far as prize cards go on either side. The biggest thing would just be the Ambition, I think. Out of all the prize cards here, the biggest thing that's prized is the Ambition, for sure. I don't think anything else really matters. It's just like if Gabe uses some Ambitions early on and whiffs knockouts, then you have, like, you could run out of Ambitions. And a terrible start for Charlie. Chooses to go first, and not very good draw. Grass Energy to Illuminate is not what you're looking for. So really big opportunity for Gabe to be able to set up safely. There's the turn one. It's literally a mirror of the game one here from Gabe here in game two. Double Sobble, Remoraid after Inkay comes off a Fog Crystal. So got the whole squad. This is what you want turn one is Remoraid, double Sobble, double Inkay. Ideally, you want that third Sobble, but if you can't quite get them, it's not the biggest of deals. You know, this is at least what you want on your first turn. Ideally, you want that third Sobble, but it's okay to not have it. So yeah, terrible start from Charlie. Not even going to be able to attack next turn. I guess could attack with a B next turn. That's just not true. Could get the B attack. But if you get the B attack, then you need the Raihan follow-up. So actually, Charlie could keep pace here in the prize trade. Doesn't forget the 20 damage this time from Gabe. But I don't even know if is that attachment worth it? I don't know if that attachment is worth it from Gabe. Because now this, in case, so once again, you're trying to minimize how many cards you need each turn to put in play as Malamar. If you attach this energy here, and this gets knocked out by a Beedrill, which is very possible. It's not like ridiculous at all for Beedrill to knock this out, to be honest. Then you lose the energy, which could have been on the bench next Inkay out of your hand on next turn before you would play an Ambition or a Karina's Focus or something. So you could lose the energy. Depends what the hand is. If there's a lot of energy in hand, it doesn't matter as much. But I don't like this attachment here, I don't think, from Gabe. Because also doing 20 damage to Luminion does not do anything. It like doesn't set up the knockout at all, right? Am I doing the math right? 160. Oh no, it does set up the knockout. Never mind. It does set up the knockout on the Luminion. But if they're passing with Luminion and they're active on the next turn, you're gonna win anyways, right? It does set up the knockout. If they're passing with Luminion and they're active again, don't you just win anyways? Like, I feel like you're winning anyways, as long as your hand's not dead from Gabe. But if your hand's dead, then getting this 20 damage isn't going to change anything anyways because you want to get the knockout. I don't know. I kind of like holding the energy because Beedrill could still come up and smack knock out this Inkay and then you lose an energy for the turn. Like, then you don't have the energy. Then you need to go find another energy for your next Malamar. But I guess you have a higher chance to KO Luminion. I don't know. I don't love it. Cramomatic here from Charlie gets the heads. Will they be able to actually do anything with it is the question. The hand looks like Boss Mustard double B something, so not a very good hand. Goes with Luminion for a research. So you're not going to be able to attack this turn from Charlie. Charlie just won't be able to attack this turn. And okay, I thought Charlie conceded there. I thought Charlie just, that was such a weird. I just want to rewatch it. Oh, wait a second. What the heck did Charlie just do there? What the heck just happened there? Oh, I think Charlie just like, well, it made no sense. They used Cramomatic to grab Luminion to grab Research, which makes absolutely zero sense because Cramomatic finds anything. So I think Charlie just tilted there. I think Gabe maybe was like, maybe Gabe said something. I don't know what happened here, but I'm pretty sure Charlie just tilted. Like, I think Charlie asked to take it back. I think what's happened here is probably Charlie asked to take it back, and then Gabe was like, no, and he was like, all right, whatever. Like, that is definitely, that's funny right there. Yeah, because Cramomatic lets you get literally any single card out of your deck. There's no reason to grab Luminion to then use Luminion to grab a Research when you could just Cramomatic to grab the Research. So definitely a pretty big brain fart there from Charlie, but didn't put the training card in play. So I liked that. I like that for sure. No training card in play. We definitely need to stop. We just definitely need to avoid doing that for sure. On Charlie's side. Yeah, definitely just a brain fart there from Charlie. Looks like they got the, oh, it's a Sandaconda. I was going to say the Arceus. The hand is double DZ, double fighting, and a quick ball. Oh, and then goes with the attach to the Sandaconda over the quick ball for an Arceus and attached to Arceus. They're saving the quick ball maybe for Crobat, but then you're relying on hitting a Raihan on the next turn, which is a one of, and you have no Luminions to find the Raihan. So I don't like this play from Charlie. I think you just go get an Arceus and you attach to the Arceus and you hope to top deck. Like, doing this play from Charlie is like, I don't know. It just doesn't make, like, you lose the quick ball for the Crobat, but the chance of Crobat finding Raihan is super low. So that's not going to happen. I don't know. And it feels like if you attack with Sandaconda, even through the Raihan this turn, if that just gets knocked out, you just can't attack next turn anyways. I would just hope to top deck the Arceus V-Star, I think. I think you just hope to top deck an Ultra Ball, a supporter, or an Arceus V-Star. I would have gone quick ball for Arceus there, I think, every time. And just be like, all right, I hope I top deck. Or you could have actually gone DTE Retreat and load up your Sandaconda as well. But yeah, I think what Charlie's doing here is being like, well, now I have the quick ball for the Crobat next turn. But if Gabe actually gets a knockout this turn, then you have to hit Raihan. I don't know. I guess it's fine, but it's not great, I don't think, either way. I don't know. I think I would have just gone and grabbed an Arceus and attached to it and then, like, pass. There's also a good chance that Gabe doesn't get a knockout here, actually, because Charlie didn't get a knockout, which means you can't actually play Santhay's Ambition for very much. There's a good chance. There's a decent chance that it happens, but it also wouldn't be that surprising if it didn't happen. Yeah, if Gabe whiffs a knockout here, it wouldn't be like the biggest shock in the world or anything like that. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, Charlie holding out for like a Crobat. I don't know. There's like a ton of cards in the hand as well, so like the Crobat's not drawing very much anyways. Ambition for 3 here from Gabe. So once again, this is where it's like that ambition being prized could be pretty big. We're using ambitions for 3. You don't want to be using ambitions for 3. I'm not saying Gabe shouldn't do this play, but it's just like this is where having that last ambition prize, you know, 2 or 3 turns from now, after you've used 3 of your ambitions and you don't have your 4th, you maybe can't build a big enough hand to actually get a KO potentially. So we'll see. It looks like probably gets the KO here though. Artillery to find another Rapid Strike card, and then has a Fog Crystal in the hand, I think, and some other Rapid Strike cards. So this should be a KO. So that 20 damage might be ended up mattering here to get the knockout on this active. Or it makes the knockout a little bit smoother, which is still a big deal as well, because now you get to bench this Sobble. So the 20 damage, it does end up being pretty nice here overall. I still didn't love attaching the energy to the active just because there wasn't that ridiculous if they pulled off a Beedrill play, but it ends up working out. Gets a net and a Brawly off the prize cards. Sandaconda to the active from Charlie. And now Charlie needs to try and hit the Raihan. They have 1 Raihan in the deck. They are out of Luminion. Although they have Ordinary Rod, so they could recover Luminion with Ordinary Rod and then find Luminion and then use that to find that. But their hand is like pretty... oh no, and I guess the worst part about all this is that if Charlie had just... not done the Cramomatic for the Luminion, they could have just actually got the Luminion right now to then put the energy on the Sandaconda, get Sandaconda VMAX, and attach a fighting energy from hand and be attacking with the VMAX this turn. So full punished here from Charlie, using Cramomatic to find Luminion to find a supporter when they could have used Cramomatic to find supporter, and now it's coming back to bite them pretty hard here, actually. So unless the Raihan was prized, but I don't think it was. So now it has to go Crobat and hope to find Raihan. Once again, one of the things that's kind of weird about Malamar, though, is if you're not taking knockouts, it's harder for them to take knockouts. But being this far ahead as Gabe, like you can wait there and build up a huge hand of stuff eventually. And it actually even puts the DTE on the Goon. So basically, Charlie is saying, I'm not attacking this turn by attaching this DTE to Goon. I don't like that at all. You could have put the fighting energy on the active, and then if you hit Raihan, you get to play the game. Like, sitting here and doing it like this is basically you're just sitting there, like you're playing the game. Are you even playing the game longer? Like, you're just like... I feel like you have to play to get lucky here. Like, you can't sit here and just like not do anything. The more turns you give to Gabe, the worse it gets for you. The Malamar deck is the one that you want to try and take advantage of in the early game when they have those awkward starts. Because once the Malamar deck sets up and starts flowing, you just lose. So I don't like that attachment at all there from Charlie. I'm pretty sure Charlie had a basic fighting. And also Charlie plays Cramomatic, so like that's like another out to the Raihan as well. So I definitely would like to have seen it. Well, yeah, this attached to the Goon is just so weird. This is so bizarre to me. It just doesn't make any sense to attach to Goon, I don't think. I don't get this play at all. That's so bizarre to me to attach to the Zigzagoon here. Maybe Charlie is thinking if you get the Air Balloon on the active, you retreat to the Zigzagoon, and that if they don't knock out the Zigzagoon, you can retreat it back. But they're always knocking out the Zigzagoon to get the free knockout. So I don't get that play at all. Definitely should have just played to get lucky and get the Raihan, because another turn whiffed is like... I mean, it's pretty bad. Another turn whiffed is just pretty bad. Quick balls away. What's it called? Gets an Arceus now. Ultra Ball for the Sandaconda VMAX. So they can attack with the spread attack this turn, I guess. And what does it do? 20 to everything, I believe. Ooh, that's actually a pretty tricky play in this matchup, actually. It's just 20 to the whole squad. I wonder if you could just sit there and do that and hope they don't get the knock. Well, they'd be able to get the knockout over like 2 turns pretty easily, I bet. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal, to be honest. Definitely don't want to see any more ambitions being played here from. So I don't like this play from Gabe. I think Gabe should go find a Karina's Focus and play a Karina's Focus. Like, it's very possible you run out of ambition and then you can't take the big knockouts on the V-Stars or the Sandaconda VMAX or whatever else later on. So I really don't like this. I do not like this ambition play. I think Gabe should go find a Karina's Focus with the Artillery instead. Plays another ambition for 3. But this is exactly what Charlie wants in this kind of situation, is them just like burning through ambitions, and then when Charlie actually sets up the Arceus V-Stars, Gabe just whiffs knockouts because they have no more ambitions left. We know one is prized as well. So there's the ambition. So yeah, I would like to have seen Gabe just like use Artillery to go for, like, you know, you're not one-hit KOing this. Like, you're just not one-hit KOing this Sandaconda this turn. Hit it as hard as you possibly can this turn while not overextending. Set up for a 2-hit KO. Go find the Karina's Focus off the Artillery. Just draw a couple cards. Hit it as hard as you can. And then next turn, maybe extend a little bit harder for the KO. Or you could even, to be honest, you could just 3-hit KO this thing. You're in such a commanding position right here as Gabe. As long as they don't get knockouts with the Sandaconda, which they shouldn't be able to because you have Drizzles and Scoop Up Nets, just 3-hit KO the Sandaconda. Like, you don't have to be aggressive here as Gabe at all. You win this game as long as you can take your knockouts throughout the game. And as soon as you start whiffing the knockouts when they're taking knockouts, that's when you can lose here as Gabe. So I don't really like this play at all from Gabe. I think it should definitely have been just use a Karina's Focus. Or if for some reason, I don't know, there should be Karina's Focus in the deck. But if there's 0 Karina's Focus in the deck, just hit out of hand and just hit. And then like worry about everything else next turn. There's no reason to play for a one-hit KO here at all. It's just kind of like a overextension. You're in such a commanding spot as Gabe, you can just chill. Like you see everything that's going on and you know they don't have any like crazy plays they can make or anything like that. So just hit as hard as you can and just kind of chill. You don't need to be too ridiculous with your plays here as Gabe. But Gabe tries to I mean, goes with the ambition to try and like not play a Karina's Focus, which like you don't want to play Karina's Focus, but yeah, you just don't need this one-hit KO. I mean, if you do get the one-hit KO here, you're in a pretty ridiculously good spot, but like the chance you get it is super low, and all it does is make you overextend with an ambition for the turn. So there's no reason to play the ambition there. Just go get a focus and go with that instead. Yeah, here comes the hit. Looks like for 5. Yeah, see, no knockout. It was never going to happen. All you did was lose an ambition. So now the later the game goes, the weirder things can get if you're low on ambition. So, and yeah, 1 card hand here from Gabe. The Sandaconda's looking like it's going to get knocked out next turn. So Charlie in a pretty rough spot. Charlie still can't take a knockout this turn. It's impossible for Charlie to take a knockout this turn, I'm pretty sure. I don't see a way where Charlie ever gets a knockout this turn. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I've been wrong a couple times throughout this one already, so I don't think there's a way that where Charlie gets the knockout this turn. So it's going to have to be to once again like set up the Arceus. Oh, I guess they could have actually got a knockout with the B. So Charlie just benches the Sandaconda here with the fighting. So I think Charlie is committed to this spread plan, which I actually kind of like. I actually kind of like this spread plan from Charlie here, because if you're not taking knockouts, the ambitions don't trigger. Now, Gabe can play around this, though, and let Charlie take a knockout by not evolving a Sobble. So that's like it's not a foolproof plan, because Gabe can just be like, but what if I don't scoop up net or evolve this Sobble, and you attack again? I get to use Cynthia's Ambition, right? But if you don't have any Cynthia's Ambition to do that, then you can't do that, which Gabe has been kind of burning through the Cynthia's Ambitions. So I guess that's not really it's only a foolproof plan if your opponent is very actively trying to make sure Sandaconda can't take a knockout. Then they kind of play into Sandaconda, spreading out the board and just like taking all the knockouts, which it looks like this is basically Charlie's plan at this point, because they benched the other Sandaconda V and put an energy on it. But it should be a pretty easy knockout here, I feel like, from Gabe. I feel like Gabe should definitely be able to take this knockout here. There's a Karina's Focus, thankfully. No more Cynthia's Ambitions being played. Need to keep those just in case for later. And yeah, you don't actually have to evolve this Sobble from Gabe, and you can kind of let them take a knockout so you can play Ambition for more cards on the following turn. So we'll see how it goes. Here comes a Fog Crystal, gets another Inkay. And then, yeah, should be able to pretty easily. Gets the reset on the Drizz. Does go with the Evolve, so Cynthia's Ambition not an option next turn. But should be a pretty easy knockout here, I think. Yeah, there's the Octillery to get one as well. And then, I don't know, has to throw like 3 or 4 back into the deck. 3, okay, there's a KO on the Sandaconda VX. And this also puts Gabe down to 1 prize card. This also puts Gabe down to 1 prize card, which means Gabe just needs boss KO on Zigzagoon to win the game at this point, which is like what I was talking about, trying to avoid putting Zigzagoon and Guru in play in this matchup, because then you can play them into a board state where they can maybe never use the boss efficiently. If the Goon just wasn't in play here, there's no great boss targets, like bossing Crobat and bossing Luminion is easier maybe than knocking out an active in some situations, but it is possible that it never ends up being like a great boss target or anything like that. So here comes the Starbirth. And we could see the Raihan play here, I guess, from Charlie. Ordinary Rod is going to get back the Sandaconda stuff and a couple energies. And then we'll see the Raihan to get the energy onto the Sandaconda, and then probably going to find the Sandaconda VMAX. So could spread again, could actually just knock out the Malamar, has some options. Neither are looking great. There's the balloon to the Goon, and Charlie will be able to move the energy around on the. I don't think this is like relevant. Charlie does get to do this, but one of those things where I don't think it's like super relevant. Charlie gets to move the DT off the Goon, but there's the boss on the Goon. That's why I said like you don't want the Goon in play, because it's an easy boss KO to close out the game, and there's the easy boss KO to close out the game, and Gabe wins 2-0 over Charlie.